Hi, welcome to Sonic Dorms. My name is Max, and on today's episode, I have a very special guest. Her name is Suzi Moon. You know her from the Turbulent Hearts, LA Machina, and now she's off on a solo venture.
Woo.
Probably got one of the best songs out right now, in my opinion. That's Special
Aw.
Place in Hell, which was released last Friday on all streaming services, including Bandcamp. That was April 2nd. So welcome to the show, Suzi. How you doing?
Hey, Max. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really stoked to be here, and it's nice to hear that you like the song so much. That feedback, that means everything.
Yeah, I mean, what caught me off guard immediately was like it gave me almost like a much punkier Donnas or even like the Go-Go's in a way, like but just it's very like just raucous and just immediate, and it's got an energy to it, but it's not throwback in the sense of like it's not nostalgic, it's very now. But
Sure.
as far as
Well, I fucking love the Donnas, and it's funny that you bring them up because a little after I wrote Special Place in Hell, because I wrote this song in 2019, in the summer of 2019, a little bit, well, I guess it was kind of a ways a bit. So last year when the pandemic hit, like March, and shit was getting really weird, I sat down and I wrote a song called No More Tomorrow. And I haven't even recorded it. And honestly, it feels like the time has passed and it wouldn't even make sense to record it and release it now because everybody's over it, you know? But maybe that was just my way of purging the feelings of like, holy shit, something's going down and this is really fucking scary. That song was actually very, the riff, when I saved the voice memo on my phone, I saved it as Donna's riff because it had kind of this like classic rock, like that's something that nobody talks about the Donnas. I'm really glad you brought them up because they're one of the the fewer girl groups I think that really I can relate to. People ask me a lot like, oh, you must be influenced by Joan Jett or like Bikini Kill, and I'm like, no, like that's not my style. Like they have their place in music history and they're for other people, but females that I'm more influenced by would be the Donnas, Courtney Love, Brody Dahl, and I fucking love the Go-Go's, a little bit edgier. Yeah. And people who write their own songs for the most part. So yeah, I fucking love the Donnas. So that's just really cool that you brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, the Donnas always reminded me of like the Ramones in a lot of ways, as far as
Oh,
like
totally.
they're writing these like hooky poppy songs, but they're attacking the songs like a punk band would. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like kind of like power pop in a way. Power pop, when you hear like bands like Cheap Trick, who are like very like they're writing these gorgeous hooky pop
Mm-hmm.
songs, but they're attacking them like a punk band. So you're almost like perplexed a little bit because there's this juxtaposition going on between like the melodies and the way the music's being performed that I think
Oh
is
yeah.
really awesome.
They are a hard rock band.
Yeah,
And before they were the Donnas, they were the Electrocutes.
that's right.
Yeah, and I just sold my Electrocute CD on eBay a couple months
Really.
ago. Yeah, I don't have a CD player, and I figured somebody else was going to appreciate it
Mhm.
more than me, who had it for 10 years. Like I was kind of over it. It's time for it to be somebody else's thing. But yeah, that's a really fucking punk, like garagey punk record. And they were cool. And my old band, Civet, we got compared to the Donnas a lot, but we never wore pants in Civet. That was like the rule that my big sister came up with. It was like, we don't wear pants on stage because the Donnas are all wearing jeans,
Right.
And so to like set us apart, we did like kind of like a pinup girl
Mhm.
sort of look. But we got compared musically a lot to the Donnas because about that same time, like 2005, 2006.
Right. So you bring up Civet. If you wouldn't mind, to anybody who, to the uninitiated, taking us back to 2005 or even earlier if you'd like.
I was such a
And
baby.
if you want, well, actually, if you want to go further back than that, we start talking about Donnas and your influence, Courtney Love and whatnot, telling us about some of your influences, your roots, what got you into music in the first place?
Yeah, well, I come from a pretty rock and roll family. My mom had great records growing up, and actually, I've received all of her vinyl records, which is pretty cool. And so when I DJ, I call myself DJ Mom Vinyl, because literally like 95% of my record collection, and it's a lot, came from my mom. So AC/DC, the Beatles, the Stones, fucking Journey, Eagles, Cheap Trick, um, you know, that stuff was played a lot in her house, as well as Nirvana and War, like Cisco Kid
Yeah,
was a friend of
right on.
mine. Like that song and War in general, like holds such like a massive space in my heart and my mind from my childhood. It's like a part of the soundtrack. Because I grew up in Long Beach, California, and it was like palm trees and classic cars. My mom collected classic cars. She was always outside working on, either the T-Bird or the Cadillac, or we had a fucking super old vintage Mercedes Benz. Like she would take them, she would fix them up and flip them and sell them. It was like a random fucking hobby of my mom's. She was way cool. So yeah, and the first vinyl I ever remember listening to was Let It Be. And like the first time I put the needle down on a record ever. you know so definitely my mom, huge influence on my musical tastes, as well as my older sister, because my sister is 5 years older than me. So when I was about 10, the things that were really popular were Spice Girls and Limp Bizkit, and I still to this day really love Good Charlotte, and will always have a soft spot in my heart for Good Charlotte because they're fucking great songwriters.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, it is all about the song. But my older sister, she was really into like punk, and she played me the Cramps for the first time, and like the US Bombs and stuff that wasn't like so big, and of course Green Day was on the radio. Mm-hmm. And everybody was obsessed with American Idiot. Like that fucking record changed the world, There
was a shift.
Oh God, like
I remember.
Has a punk record ever changed the world like the way that did, on such a level? Like we've never been in that place before, where it like hit on such a massive level,
Look, everyone
maybe the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
Maybe never mind the Bollocks. Maybe that was the only other punk record that really like fucking took over the whole entire world.
One album too, literally. That one album. That's all it took for Sex Pistols. Just one record.
That's all you need. So I found this shirt at the thrift store today, and it says "Sid died for your sins."
Yeah, I saw that. It's awesome.
Right? How cool! But I found it at like the most like boring old person thrift store in like a really like Panera Bread kind of neighborhood. And I don't know why it was there, but it was just, I turned around and it was staring at me, and I was like, I'm so in that mood today. So
it was there for you. It was there for you.
I really believe so. So yeah, musical tastes, they vary, and as I've gotten older, I really appreciate Otis Redding and Sam Cooke.
Best.
And Aretha Franklin, like that stuff that you feel it on so many levels when you listen to it. And all of that stuff is rock and roll. It all comes back to rock and roll. It's like it's in your soul,
Some of those soul artists from the 1950s, 60s, like people like Aretha Franklin, I mean, there's nothing like Motown soul like of that era. Like to me, that it's unbeatable to this day. Still sounds phenomenal. And Sam Cooke, arguably for me, one of the greatest of all time. I mean, he influenced Steve Perry of Journey, which you can hear a lot of Sam Cooke and Steve Perry's voice with the way he phrases certain things. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I never thought to put those two together, but now I'm gonna listen for it.
Yeah, listen to something like Lights by Journey.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear or Love and Touch and Squeezing by Journey. You're gonna hear Sam Cooke. Like
another one, like my guy. Like I've got my guys, right? Like Tom Petty, for songwriting,
Bet.
like the American treasure of all time, like holy fuck. But Smokey Robinson, like I really want to be more like Smokey Robinson, you know? Like holy shit, the fucking amount of songs, like hit songs that man wrote. I don't know if anybody else has done the number of hit songs that are like legendary and like you know them, and like even if you don't know that you know that they're Smokey, like somewhere you've heard them, you know? Like what a fucking talent. So I always run things through the Tom Petty and the Smokey Robinson test when I'm
I mean, Tom Petty, I mean, Smokey Robinson, but Tom Petty, you want to talk like dyed in the wool, like songwriter, just like someone who like just would breathe like a great songwriting from top to bottom. I mean,
yeah, no, we just
great record.
Which one?
Wildflowers. It's probably
oh yeah, that's a fantastic record. I have a few on vinyl. We listened to Damn the Torpedoes the other night while I was making dinner, and there is not a bad song on that record. And I don't think there's a bad song on any Tom Petty record, but like every fucking single song on Damn the Torpedoes is a hit. And he wrote in this way that it was so relatable and easygoing, and like he didn't exclude anybody, and it wasn't so personal that you felt like you had to be there. You know, it was like, even if it wasn't about you, it was about somebody you knew, you know? And there was just this like this openness to everything. And I don't know, fucking yeah, God broke the mold on the day that he brought Tom Petty down, because like unmatched.
Amen. You have a favorite track on Damn the Torpedoes? You mentioned every song's a hit.
Well, you know, I love I was gonna say Century City.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
It's kind of like a weird one, like not one of the super hits, you know, but because I know that area of LA so well, I find it extra funny because he hits the nail on the head with like kind of how douchey that part of town is.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Even the Losers off that record.
Incredible.
And
so fucking good.
Don't Do Me Like That. I don't know if you knew this. Don't Do Me Like That was going to be given to Jay Giles Band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was going to be a Jay Giles Band song, but Tom Petty ended up keeping it for himself. But yeah, he had originally wrote it for Jay Giles Band. It was pretty cool.
Wow. I love that. I heard a similar story about actually my favorite Bruce Springsteen song is Cover Me off of Born in the USA. Oh yeah, like such a fucking sexy super hit. And he wrote that for I want to say it was not Diana Ross, but like Gloria Gaynor, or one of those disco queens. Actually, I'm blanking. I'm so embarrassed. I should know this because I've told this story and it's a story I know, but for some reason I'm blanking on exactly which lady it was. But you know, because it sounds like a disco song, you know. And then he was like, "Oh, sorry, I gotta keep that because it's so good," right? Like, and I've had other bands ask me to ghostwrite for them, and you know, I've done it once, and that was cool. But I feel like I would run into kind of the same situation if you write something so super good, like, and even if it's you're kind of inspired because you're writing outside of the box, that's the trick, right? You're not writing for yourself anymore. You're writing for someone else. So it's like you're like separated in this way, you know, but then it's almost like it's even better because you're keeping your music interesting. So I don't know, there's some weird trick there. And I don't really collaborate with people too much, but yeah, it's just interesting how that works out. Like, sorry, you can't have that. I like it for myself, even though it was for you.
I think, is that another influence on you? Are you a fan of Bruce Springsteen? He's one of my heroes.
I mean, he's cool as fuck, but I didn't really hear Bruce until way later in life. And I can't really listen to a full album and be like, man, this totally speaks to me. It doesn't. But I fucking respect the shit out of him because he's Bruce and he's cool. And I have a lot of his records and I've seen him live a couple times, and that's very impressive.
Yeah,
He's remarkable.
he owns that band. He's such a like world class arranger. Like the
Yeah.
way he has that
Oh my God. Yeah. That band.
like set up, like where it's like
I know.
I listened to an interview with Tom Morello on his show
Mm-hmm.
Maximum Firepower on Sirius, and
Cool.
he's like talking about how when he first joined the E Street Band for like 3 years that it was, like how
Wow.
he'd be like, he's like, so here's the songs, like that's it, where you're just gonna have to play them now, like we're just gonna change them, like literally on the spot, like you just
Wow.
improv, you just have to try to find your way. And there's like three
Yeah.
in that band, and so he was like freaking out because he's someone who prepares,
Sure.
and Bruce Springsteen's like,
Yeah.
not here, you don't. You're gonna have to find your way. And
Wow. And like
will,
really just be ready to fucking do something different.
Just
because I call it. Yeah.
You call it, like you can call it at any moment. There could be a whole set list. He's like, you know what? Scratch that. We're gonna play this instead. We're gonna play Purple Rain now.
What? Yeah, and maybe even I don't know how involved or prepared Bruce likes to make like the arrangement of say these songs like in the set, there, because I know on stage like I'll do this too, and it's definitely not on any level that's anywhere near Bruce Springsteen, but I might feel like, oh, I want to elongate this part right now because we're having a moment, and like with someone like Bruce, like everybody else would have to be so like fucking focused on him, and like you don't fuck that shit up. Like you have to like anticipate when he's gonna like do something and then be there and like match it, and everything's got to flow.
Yeah, there's like a real synergy happening, which I think is awesome. But you're telling me like all these people that you grew up listening to, and so correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like you have a very diverse musical upbringing.
Yeah, I would say so, and then I was a 2000s kid, so there's all that 2000s pop too that like has a fucking huge influence on me. Actually, I was telling this story to my boyfriend a couple weeks ago where like the perfect way to kind of sum up how like music came to me or like how I relate to it. It's not just punk, or just rock or anything, but Christmas one year we were coming back from my grandma's. We'd always go up to my grandma's for Christmas, and I got a CD player, Walkman. And at Christmas I'd gotten the new Christina Aguilera CD, so I must have been about 10 or 11, and this was like, I don't even remember what CD it was because I didn't really like it all that much, but that's the CD that I was allowed to open in front of my grandma, right? And I get my CD player and I'm all stoked, and we get in the car and we're driving back to Long Beach, and my mom goes, okay, and then here's this, but I didn't want you to open it in front of your grandma. And it's Blink-182's Enema of the State.
Oh, okay.
So I listened to both of those, like, and I loved both of them because they both have great songs on them. And I fucking love pop music. I was a huge Britney Spears fan. My first concert was Hanson. When Spice Girls came back around for like a reunion, it was probably like 2007 or something. I bought tickets and I cried. Like, that was so important to me because pop is so interesting how it reaches people on such a ginormous fucking level. And there's so much work that goes into being a pop artist, day in and day out. It seems exhausting, like really fucking hard and exhausting, and like I would not want that life, but I admire the amount of work that goes into it and the teams that build these albums and the image and the whole product. Like, that shit's insane.
Yeah, you mentioned the songs again, and I mentioned to you before we started this show, like the song is king for me as well. Like those pop songs, those Britney Spears songs off of Oops, I Did It Again. I mean,
oh my God.
I mean, some of my favorite pop songs are on that record ever. I mean, Lucky to me is just such a great hook. A great.
My favorite was the self-titled, the record that came after it.
Right, that has like
Stronger.
Yeah.
And then that song with Pharrell, Boys. Oh my God. And I'm a Slave for You. Like, that was my shit. Like, we were wearing like the low cut jeans and the little fucking like stupid fucking hair, God, we just dressed like we really wanted to be Britney Spears, you know, like she was like the queen of the universe.
Killer. And say what you want about her voice, it's immediate. You get it. No, that's Britney. You know, the second you hear it, you know it's her.
There is so much more to being an artist than just one thing, like your voice, you know, her ability to perform and to be an entertainer, that's her strength. Dolly Parton, fucking songwriter. You know, everybody's got their thing that they're really, really, really good at, you know, and you don't have to have all of the things. You just have to be really, really good at one of them and let that thing shine.
Yeah, you're talking about performance, and just from never seen you live, but I've just from music videos and just live footage and whatnot, you seem to be very energetic and you seem to put on like almost like a persona in a way, or maybe it's just an extension of your personality, of your true nature, but you're maybe notching it up a bit for the crowds. You seem to be kind of lively. I think, is that something that's essential to you, or has always been essential to you, to have that performance aspect in your character when you're on stage or in a
Yeah,
video?
well, it's so weird, right? Because it is, I think for mental health reasons, you have to call it a character.
Mhm.
But that's where I'm also the most me, you know, but that me doesn't really translate into going to Trader Joe's at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But that's where I feel the most comfortable, the most chilled out. Like I'm not trying hard to do that, you know, that's what I do. That's what I was put here to do. What feels easy. It feels like the easiest, most comfortable place in the world, and the rest of the universe feels like a really hard and scary place to live in, you know?
Right, right.
But I do think I do really like fucking admire performers, and I look at them, you know, because it's not like you can always do better. And for me, I want to maybe not always, sometimes you go into this kind of like trance,
Mhm.
you know, and like then it's just about me, you know, and I feel like as an artist, you owe it to the people who pay to come and see you to, you know, give them something as well, and something that matches the music. So I'm always trying to like find ways to kind of open up that side, you know, just a little bit more,
Mhm.
and push myself, because unless you try something, you're not going to even know if it feels good, you know? And I also don't ever want to be seen either as like a one trick pony, somebody who people just come to see because she's like rolling on the floor or hanging upside down. Like then that actually I think detracts from what is so important to us, which is the song. You know, then you become, you know, some fucking novelty, and people are just gonna come to see you do that. You know, and if you watch somebody like Prince performing, okay, Prince, the fucking epitome of cool, like is there anybody cooler than Prince? Like ever, you know? And fucking sexy, but never like dirty sexual, like in a way that makes you feel like he did something wrong. You know, it's like this confidence, like this like owning it instead of like it owning him. You know, it's not like he's doing it for the attention. It's like that's actually just a part, you know, just a part of it, you know, and it adds to the whole act, you know. So it's like it's this weird blend, because you can tell with somebody like Prince, it's not far off for him to put on fucking assless pants, you know. That's Prince, that's who he is. He can do that comfortably and feel good about himself. But you also have to be conscious about what kind of performance you're giving to your fans, and I think always keeping it interesting for yourself too. And like moving into this new era with my new songs, you know, what's really important to me is that I like, it's like I'm trying to find like the confidence to not go so hard. And I think it's like a balance, you know, because sometimes you're just so fucking excited. It's like, ah! you know, and,
Yeah.
you know, and then you kind of get off track
Mhm.
too sometimes. And I'm glad because in the last like 3 years, I experimented a little bit more
Mhm.
on stage with what I could do, you know, and I did some things that I had seen other people do that I wanted to try, you know, and now I've gotten them out of my system, you know, so I don't really feel like I need to do those things again. But at the end of the day, you want to give a good fucking show where people hear your songs, they they have moments with you, you know, but it's like you're breaking down this wall. I don't ever want there to be a wall where like I'm up here and everyone's over here, you know, and people who do that really well are like Billy Joe Armstrong, you know, you can be in a fucking stadium in the back row and feel like he's right there with you. You know, he's got this way of pulling you in. So I think everybody's got to find their way to like to really immerse the crowd with the band, because that's when I think as an artist it feels the best to you too.
Mhm.
Like I've had shows when for whatever reason I just can't get into it, you know, and I'm just not in the right headspace and I feel really far away from the crowd even if they're 2 feet away from me and I'm playing at the floor in the corner of like a tiny bar, you know, but you feel 1,000 miles away. um so when you get close to people and you exchange this sort of like moment and you're all in it together and there's this energy, then everybody's having a better time. And it takes, you know, you're not going to be an amazing performer overnight. It takes time. And in the last few years, I've found more confidence in myself to be the person I've always wanted to be, you know, or felt like I was inside, but maybe I hadn't taken the first step, you know. And now that I went all the way out there, I feel perfectly comfortable pulling it back and be like, okay, well, you know, don't need to do that anymore, but it was fun. And I tried
Right.
it, you know, but I really just want to give a good show, like how Prince would give a good show, or like how Tom Petty would give a fucking good show. And actually, I have a little story for you, which was that when Katy Perry's first single, I Kissed a Girl, came out, I think it was like 2007 or 2008
2008.
or
Yep.
something.
2000.
Yeah, 2008, you said?
Mhm. 2008. Yep.
Yeah. My band Civet was going on Warped Tour. And back in the day, it was customary for Warped Tour to do these kickoff shows in Los Angeles. That was like a small event. It wasn't open to the public. It would be like people who were working Warped Tour, bands who were on Warped Tour. You know, they just wanted to get people together before the big first day and like get everybody comfortable together. And this new chick, Katy Perry, was going to be on Warped Tour, you know, and we all go to the Key Club in Hollywood and it's like, okay, kickoff party, blah, blah, blah. And this girl comes on stage and she's like, got like this big blow up strawberry and she's like kind of awkward, and we were all making fun of her. And like, I'm so sorry, Katy Perry, because you were not great that night, you know? But imagine how scary it must have been for her as a brand new artist being put in a room full of primarily like punk rockers and like rock and rollers,
Mhm.
when what she was doing was like so different, you know? And from what I gathered from like the people that were around, like this was it. This was her first tour. It was going to be her first time like going out on the road and like getting that experience. And we were on the Warped Tour as she was on the Warped Tour, you know? And every single day I went and watched her and she got fucking better every single fucking day. She got so good. It only took like 3 weeks until she was owning that stage, you know? But it takes a minute. And if people have it, it's in there, you know? But you really need to practice. It takes time. It takes fucking practice. And it was amazing to watch that, you know, because she just fucking blew up. And her people were so smart to put her on something like Warped Tour, because that was boot camp, you know? And she's playing in front of young, impressionable kids. And she was doing something different than everybody else. And she had a unique image and a hit fucking song. And she like literally fucking killed it and became the queen like over one summer, you know? And so I just think that like for anybody who's like scared or starting, like Katy Perry had a really shitty show once and we all saw it, you know? And now she's fucking Katy Perry, you know? And it's like, you just have to find it and like keep practicing.
Yeah, she had a long like road to get to that point as well. I mean, she had been around like, around the block since like '03, like writing songs with various
Mhm.
people. And I mean, her first record was like a Christian album.
Yeah,
And then she
with like
started,
her old name,
right,
right?
Hudson,
Yeah,
yeah, Katie.
Hudson, Katie Hudson.
Yeah, and then she went into working with one of her heroes, which is Glenn Ballard, who worked with
Okay.
one of her heroes, Alanis Morissette, on Jagged
Oh
Little
wow.
Pill, supposed former
Yeah.
infatuation junkie, and they wrote some songs together, and then that kind of evolved into where she got to. One of the boys started
Yeah.
working with like Desmond Child on Waking Up in Vegas and stuff like that. And
Sure. I love that fucking song.
me
Oh
too,
my God.
me too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then who's that girl that she wrote? The girl who wrote Teenage Dream with her.
Oh, I
This
know.
redhead chick. She used to live in Hollywood.
She was
Um,
starting her own career too at one point, like her own
she
singing career
was.
at one point.
Yeah. I can't remember her
Doesn't
name.
bother me now.
Yeah, I know. She's cool though. We were friends on MySpace back in the day, and
Oh,
like I
really?
never went to the parties she invited me to, and I kind of regret that. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I recall like this is like 2011, 2012. Like
Uh-huh.
she had started releasing like a couple singles like on her own as
Yeah.
a singer, and it
Yeah.
seemed to be doing all right. I don't know what happened though.
She's an incredible songwriter,
Yeah,
but I think some people just have the performance thing too,
that's
you
true.
know? And like Katy Perry has that fucking it factor.
Hmm.
And not everybody has it.
Well,
Big fan.
yeah, same here. I think especially those early days with Katy Perry to me are
So
dynamite.
good. Like Teenage Dream is just like the best song. Like, oh my God. I'm gonna have to listen to that after this because I really, really love that song.
I like Last Friday Night.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
haven't thought about that song in a long time. Yeah, she was so funny. All of her videos were funny, just like lighthearted.
yeah.
She was like a really like fresh
Mhm.
artist to have around when she came out.
Yeah, we could use some of that levity today. I think. I mean, we need
I
someone
agree.
to fluff it up a bit and bring us, put us on cloud nine for a while because I think we need those people.
Totally.
Make it fun, escapism. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so you started off your whole performing career. You brought up Warped Tour. You were in Civet for a good while. I mean, you were self booking tours in the UK and Europe and whatnot.
That was with Turbulent Hearts.
That's with Turbulent Hearts. Okay.
Yeah. Civet had booking agents the whole time I was in the band. And because I was like the baby of the band, I was 5 or more years younger than everybody else in the band. I didn't have any say in anything. I just kind of showed up, which was cool because I would just show up and play and somebody else would like stress.
Hmm.
And nowadays I know exactly what my sister was dealing with, like how much stress she was really experiencing.
Right.
But yeah, no, we got to we signed to Hellcat Records. I was 17 and we toured, we went to Japan in 2009 and Europe a bunch of times, back and forth to Europe and all across America and Canada. And we got to play in Hawaii one time, which was super cool.
Right on.
I remember actually when we played in Hawaii, me and our bass player Jackie, we went out of the hotel, we were like, we're going swimming and we're out in the ocean and we're floating around the ocean and we're like, dude, this is it, man. Like we made it, because what the fuck? Music brought us there.
Right.
And I think for any artist, if you can do something like really cool like that, but your passion brought you there and somebody else paid for it, like that's kind of peak making it. But also when you're an artist, making it only lasts so long before, it's going to dip again and then it's going to rise again and dip and rise. And it's a fucking constant roller coaster. And I figured that out, after Civet, that you can be on what feels like the top of your game, but you're going to have shitty days or maybe even shitty years, and it's not all one and done. If you're a lifer and you're dedicated to a career path, it's going to always be up and down. I don't think there's any one day where it's like, okay, well, we did it. It's like well, that means I'm gonna stop working, never gonna stop working, never gonna stop writing, trying to connect with people, so you just gotta like kind of stick with it and stay
Yes.
tough.
Yeah, success is fleeting, right? You just that's
Hmm.
why if you really love what you do, you just have to stick with it no matter what. That's really what it's all about, right? You have to
Yeah,
stay
I
in school.
agree.
But where does that evolve into what became Turbulent Hearts then? Where was that
Yeah,
transition?
well, with Savette, since I joined the band when I was 16, I graduated high school early, and I didn't get like that experience, which is fine because I got like a really cool experience that was totally different, but
Right.
super abnormal. Um, so I graduated high school early, started touring, was on the road all the time. And then when I turned 22, I just kind of felt like I needed something different, like I was bored and I was sick of being broke all the time, which happens when you're in a punk band. Like we were touring so much, I couldn't keep a stable job when we came home. So I was living on people's couches. For a minute there, my sister and I rented one room in a house and put twin beds on other opposite sides of the wall. But we're in our 20s, and it was really sad because we didn't have anything stable back home, and you can't keep a stable life when you're touring as much as we were. But at the same time, it was like we weren't financially getting ahead with Savette, and it felt like we had done a lot of work and we should have been like on another level, but we weren't. So I was like, fuck this. I need to go now, and it was hard because that is a project that I did with my sister. So, telling her that I didn't want to do it anymore was really scary. But also she's my sister and she's got to love me no matter what. And she does. And she was really supportive of me. So I left the band, and I like enrolled in City College and learned how to do filmmaking for a couple of years, which ended up leading me back to Turbulent Hearts because I had some songs and I started working at a restaurant where live music was played every night, and I started meeting a lot of musicians. And like you said earlier, when you said you see these other podcasts, or when you weren't sure if you were going to really get started, but you were seeing other podcasts and you're like, I can fucking do that. you know I'm working at this restaurant serving tables, and I'm watching these bands on stage, and I'm like, I can fucking do that. So I got jealous, and I was like, I have songs and I can do this. And since I was at school and I was learning how to make videos and stuff, I was like, shit, well, if I put a band together, then I can make my own music videos. And then it's like bam, bam, you know? So the first chunk of Turbulent Hearts music videos were all directed and edited by me and turned in as projects at school. So I was like just making the most of anything I could do. It's like super fucking DIY. And I played with a bunch of people in Turbulent Hearts. I was really lucky to just have like some very cool guys who had my back and like let me be the queen bee, which is something I needed to be.
Right on.
Yeah. it
So
was it was hard work, but it was fun.
yeah, and then that led you to LA Machina, which was the last band that you were in before you got to where you are today, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So we were pronouncing it LA Machina,
Yeah.
but everybody calls it Machina, and I literally could care less what anybody fucking calls that band. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Machina again was a thing where with Turbulent Hearts, I'd done it for a long time.
Hmm.
I'd accomplished a lot of stuff that I wanted to accomplish. I made a lot of friends. I met my boyfriend playing in that band because we both played punk rock bowling. And I was like, I just feel like I don't have Turbulent Heart songs in me anymore. Like it just kind of felt like that was done.
Hmm.
And Turbulent Hearts was a very specific type of song and band and feeling and stuff. And I needed a challenge. And like right when I said it to myself, I need a challenge, I got a text from my friend Ricky, and she was like, do you still have that bass? And I'm like, oh yeah, I do have a bass. I don't ever play it, but I could play it, you know? And I really hadn't fucking played that bass. Like I had it, but I wasn't really playing it. But I'm a huge Ramones fan, you know, and TV Ramone is like one of the fucking coolest of the cool. So I said yes, even though I wasn't like technically like a bass player. I was like, yeah, I'll fucking play bass in that band. She was like, great, come on down. And it was fun. It was a really fun year. I worked really hard. I went all in on that band. Shared it with every single person I knew. I met a lot of really nice people while I was in that project, but sometimes things aren't meant to be. And I think everybody involved is better off not being in a band together.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how that's when I first reached out to you, was while you were involved in that project. So there you go. But
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting the idea here that, based on everything you've told me, that everything happens for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
and these three bands that you were in kind of like were platforms, like stepping stones to get you to where you are now, which is your own thing where you can kind of
Yeah.
do whatever you want and you can call the shots, and
Mm-hmm.
you can be,
Literally.
yeah, literally, because that's the name of the EP, right?
That's the name.
And also, like, the cool thing about it too is you have all these diverse influences in your musical upbringing. Is that something that you can now bring into your own music, because there's nothing stopping you or no one telling you that you can't do this or say that, right? So you can be diverse if you want to. You don't have to just stick
Yeah.
to one song or one type of song.
It's interesting because in theory, all of that, yes. But at the same time, I already feel like I wasn't ever trying to write for any sort of thing anyway. You know, like Turbulent Hearts, I just listened to our 15 song greatest hits essentially like 2 weeks ago. And you know, there's a lot of fucking doo-wop in there. There's a lot of, it's a little bit harder punk than but it's not really, what am I saying? No, I just write. Like I don't know, I don't ever fucking try to write any certain specific type of thing. I just write, you know. And even for Ellie Machina, I didn't get an opportunity to do any of my songs, but I was gonna give a few of my songs to LA Machina and do it with those girls, you know, and bring in my style. But I mean, actually, I'm really lucky that somebody didn't want me to do that in that band, and I got to take my songs back and keep them for myself, which is, I think, what the universe wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, even with Machina, like you know, I felt like my songs like were too much my style. Even, you know, they didn't really fit with that band. Like that band was more like stoner heavy, garagey, and I think I do have a style, and it's kind of like this classic California sort of punk rock, you know. And you know, I love fucking Social Distortion and TSOL and those Orange County, Huntington Beach bands like fucking US Bombs, and just, oh man, there's so much good stuff that like trickles in, you know. So it's weird. And then I'm the Stooges, you know, but I'm never trying to ever fucking write like anybody, and I don't know how to do that really. So it's weird. I have all this freedom now, but I never felt like I was constricted before anyway. The way that I see myself as having freedom now is that, well, I really just don't have to ask anybody if they're cool with anything. Like, and that makes my life easier.
Right.
I've got an amazing backing band now that I'm like so excited to share with the world, because they're incredible musicians and they're all different players than what I was doing with Turbulent Hearts or anything like that. So like that's a cool thing to unleash, you know, is my new band. But yeah, the way that I have freedom is, it's a completely different thing. It's not about the songs. It's just, you know, maybe now I can be the center of attention, which is what I always wanted to be anyway.
Right.
It's the role I was born for. And always, like, Turbulent Hearts was essentially my solo project, you know. Just, it had a band name. I didn't have the confidence to just go Suzi Moon. I thought that was kind of douchey. for a long time.
Mhm.
It's like a band is where it's all about, like band, that's what you do. But those were all my songs, and I didn't co-write with anybody, I mean, with any song, you're gonna, or at least for me, I write them, I get them pretty fucking near done, because I don't even want to share them with anybody until I've got basically a structure. I'm crazy about my lyrics. Lyrics are really important to
Mhm.
me, and I spend time writing songs too. Like the songs on Call the Shots, those I wrote in 2019. It's 2021 now, and people are just now hearing them. And I have a full length that's coming out after Call the Shots, but I'm probably gonna wait until spring next year because there's still some stuff we need to do on the record, and it doesn't feel like, because it's such a California record, I don't want to release it at the end of this year around Christmas because it just doesn't feel right. Like I feel like it needs to be like spring, bloom, summertime. And that kills me to wait until next year to release a record that I started recording in the summer of 2020, you know? But you can't fucking rush these things. And at least they're out of my head,
Yeah.
but some of the songs on the full length, one of them is 7 years old.
Really?
Yeah. And I tried to play it with Turbulent Hearts and it didn't sound right. I tried to play that song so many fucking times. Another one of those songs is 5 years old, and these are good songs. And just because they're old doesn't mean they're not good. I mean, a song is supposed to be timeless, supposed to be classic, supposed to live forever. So for me, the full length that's going to come out after Call the Shots is actually the most important thing I have ever done in my entire life because it's everything that led me to presenting the Suzi Moon I am today to people. Those are the songs that they honestly, they were too fucking good for Turbulent Hearts and they were too fucking good for Ellen Machina. And they don't fit in those things because those things have kind of a genre to them. And I don't want to get stuck in something like that. I like all different types of music, as we've talked about, and then I put my spin on it, my little bow on it. But all of the songs, they just sound like me. And I think it's gonna really, the full length is gonna really show people my range in songwriting.
It's badass. I'm listening to all this. I'm getting like a Generation X situation here for a bit for
Oh,
Billy
cool.
Idol. No, as
I
far as
fucking love Billy Idol.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, he's one of my heroes too. But the whole your situation, first of all, Suzi Moon is such a identifiable name in my humble opinion. It's a name that
Thank
just
you.
stands out. So
Cool.
that's something that you already have to your advantage on top of the experience that you've garnered throughout the years. But like Generation X with Billy Idol, he was kind of restrained to that formula or that kind of thing. Even
Mm-hmm.
if he wanted to, he wasn't trying to be that, but it just, he was
Mm-hmm.
almost restrained in a way. And then he
Mm-hmm.
comes out as Billy Idol, and it's just so much better because he has these
Yeah.
diverse influences, everything from, reggae to electronica,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
German, craft work, and
Totally.
and he loves punk too. He loves rockabilly. He's a big Elvis
Mm-hmm.
Presley fan.
Yeah.
So, and he comes out, it's almost like the chains were off. Let's go. I can, and something about your situation to me, there's a parallel there as far as I feel like you're off the chains now, and now you can just embrace yourself and your image and kind of make a stamp now with your own name, which again, you have a strong, that name itself, Suzi Moon, to me is very identifiable. So I think that'll
Thank you.
work to your advantage. I think that's something that's memorable.
We'll fucking see, Max. I'm never gonna stop writing and releasing music. And I just feel really, really, really grateful to have awesome people behind me that are giving me a shot right now. And I've been super lucky to work with a bunch of legendary people and labels. And I'm only 31, and well, I turn 32 next month, and it's sometimes I feel a lot older than that because I've done kind of a lot of stuff, but then at the same time, it's holy shit, no, I'm totally fucking young. And there's so much time to do so much stuff. So I just feel really lucky that I've had such a strange and awesome life. And I'm right here, right now, talking to you. And I'm super stoked on fucking Call the Shots. Can I show you something really quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's badass.
Yeah,
Is
it
that a
came
vinyl
in.
pressing of
It
it?
was so much bigger than I expected. Like I knew it was going to be a full-size vinyl, but when I actually saw it, I was like, oh my God, it's gigantic, you know? And then the back, it's got a very no wave kind of vibe to it.
I love that. Yeah, it's very like almost like something out of the late 70s, early 80s. Like
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. That's so cool.
I'm so
Again,
proud.
you can't replace that, can you? Can you tell me that? Like, can you replace a physical item like that? Can you replace vinyl? The feeling of holding that piece of material in your hand, there's nothing like it, right?
Literally, I don't want to, but I could die. And I'm cool. I'm good. I'm cool. Somebody somewhere down like my family line will like get to see these and be like, holy shit, Grandma Moon was a fucking crazy ass badass motherfucker, you know, or Auntie Moon. You know, I've got two nephews, and my 5-year-old nephew, he loves Rob Zombie and Metallica and Marilyn Manson. And so I just, you know, I want him to see this and know that his auntie did some cool stuff, you know. But the inside's got like this collage that was sort of like my homage to like a Stiv Bators meets Betty Page sort of vibe I was feeling. And then for anybody who's watching and thinks that they want to be friends with me and want to get me like a really dope birthday present, my birthday is May 17th and the record comes out on May 21st. So if you buy my record, you're basically getting me a birthday present, which is sweet. And the first 200, well, it's the pre-sale. Anybody who orders with the pre-sale gets the fucking blue vinyl. There's only 200 of the blue ones made. So
make sure to you know be part of the pre-sale if you want the blue vinyl, which looks awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
I'm
so cool.
stoked. Yeah, you know, it's a dream come true. So I don't know. It's weird. I'm just very lucky. I'm very, very lucky.
I mean, I'm like checking that out. Like I'm like it's my vinyl. I'm just like that's so cool. I don't know. Anybody brings out like a piece of vinyl, you know, a vinyl record like that, and I freak out because I'm just like that's especially you know seeing that you know this is a labor of love for you, and you know wow like there it is, all that hard work, and look what it's come down to, you know.
It's pretty. It's a lot of fucking work, you know, and you know this running your own show. There's always emails to respond to, and I'm not just an artist. I'm my own manager and my own booking agent. And who do you think designs the merchandise and like does the you know I'm you know getting the music videos done and booking all of that stuff and flights and photo shoots, and it's a lot of work, and I'm really lucky that I get to do something cool. Like, and I was reading some actually Tom Petty interview the other day, and he was like, well, you know, being a rock and roller is the greatest job in the world. Why would I do anything else? So sometimes, I mean, it's been scary and it's not always been easy, and I've been really broke at times, and you know, lots of times, and it's weird, but I'm like glad I went all in on this because it has at least made me feel rich in a lot of different ways.
It's fulfilled your heart, right? At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. So one last thing, you wouldn't mind? I would like to know what was it like shooting that video for Special Place in Hell, which is out now. You can find it on YouTube, but I love that video because it showcases you immediately get the image and the personality and the style and through your performance and your range, I think, as a performer. And obviously you get the cool song obviously as well. So what was it like shooting that video for you?
Thank you. Yeah, the video I'm very proud of. I got to make it with my friends, the Enclave Live out in LA. It's this guy, Kevin and Eric. And I've worked with them actually in LA Machina. They directed the Highway of the Night video. Yeah. And so we had such a great experience together. I was like, dudes, you want to do this video with me? And they were super into it. But we only had one day really to shoot. And especially with COVID and stuff, we're like, okay, we have to keep this really small and we need to be efficient. you know, just the smallest crew possible. And nobody even thought to bring lights or anything like that, like colored lights or anything. Oh shit, one of my lights went out. What? Oh no, is it broken? I literally just bought these. Cool. Anyway, lights.
Right.
But I booked this location. It was crazy because I wanted someplace with a black glitter wall. Like I knew that much. And I was actually inspired by a Kylie Minogue video.
Oh yeah, which
Have
one?
you seen the Two Hearts video?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
I'm a big
that's like
Kylie
the
Minogue.
best music. That's the best music video that's ever been made since the history of music videos. Like I've tried to just be Kylie Minogue in the Two Hearts video for like 15 years. So I was really inspired by that. But also I love horror movies, and that there's something about blood and guts and spookiness and death that it's very much a part of my vibe, you know. And
Yeah.
even when film school, pretty much everything I did, I'm just naturally drawn to the horror genre. I guess it's kind of rock and roll, right? And so I wanted to do something that paid homage to a Roman Polanski movie called Repulsion.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. And so they were just, you know, it was like, how can I make a story if we're shooting in one room, you know, with just this black wall and this white wall with a skull on it, and then there's a bed, you know. And I'm like, how can I make a story happen? And I was like, well, shit, she's stuck in the room. You got to watch Repulsion. It's amazing. And it's
That's
basically
one of the
about
only Polanski movies I've never seen, so that's
oh
definitely
my God, you will enjoy it.
okay.
It's fucking gruesome. Yeah, so it's about a girl who goes crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I won't spoil it too much for you.
Okay.
While she's in one apartment, basically. And I was like, well, that could be kind of like a quarantine thing, you know? Like we've all been stuck inside for so long, we're fucking losing our minds. And I love to play dress up. I had found this big gold dress at a thrift store. So I was like, hey, that's a thing. And I had this gold harness thing that was going to be used for the Ellie Machina album cover shoot. But when that didn't happen, I was like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this gold cone boob harness fucking robot looking thing? And I was like, well, I put it over the gold dress, and I was like, hey, something's kind of happening, you know? And I was like, I need angel wings. And I was like, angel, devil, special place in hell. Okay. You know, I'm just like trying to fucking make something fucking happen. And then that's when the Repulsion thing came in, because I was like, oh, okay, it'll be angel, devil, and then me. And I'm envisioning all these things, you know? And then my boyfriend, I went into the room. I was like, do you think you would wear a costume for the video? Like, please, and play the guitar solo. So I put him in the Wolfman costume. So that's my boyfriend who's doing the like pointing at me and playing guitar and stuff.
That's pretty
which
cool.
was just really fun, you know. And he plays lead guitar in my band. So that's his solo anyway. He's the one that's playing that solo on the record. I don't fuck with leads. I can write them and sing them how I want them to be recorded,
Right.
but I don't play leads. It's just not, I'm not that kind of guitar player. Mm-hmm. I play guitar solely to write songs and fucking strum, but he's a savant. Like he is a guitar player. Like that's what he loves to do, you know, and I could never sit down and like learn something like that because it doesn't interest me at all.
Like, say cool solo, and so that's pretty awesome to hear that that's your boyfriend, like, and that you actually like. That's awesome. I think
that's actually his solo, you know. So it was just fun to put him in a costume because it's like she's having these visions, you know, and like, was it all a dream or wasn't it? So yeah, the guys did a great job filming and editing, and there were these like pink lights that were on the wall at the space that we rented. And we were able to like move those lights. And so you could see some kind of cool pink lighting in the video. We just literally took down these neon lights off the wall and like used those as lighting. You know, it was like a no budget.
Yeah,
aside
DIY.
from renting. Oh, totally DIY. Basically no budget. Shot in like 4 hours. Wham bam, done. I mean, it shouldn't take too long. Same with photo shoots and stuff too. If you're like going on like 3 hours on a photo shoot, like I think there's a point where you lose the enthusiasm, you know? And it's like, if you can't capture what you need to capture, and you should already have it figured out in your mind, like, then you're not doing it right.
I agree.
I
Sometimes
don't know.
that's when you overthink something. That's when it starts to like dilute itself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So just always have fun with it. I think it's the most important.
So, is there one song on the EP that you're like, that's the song, like that's the one everyone has to hear?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And I wasn't gonna give it away at the first one on
Okay.
the first single. Yeah. I was just warming you guys up.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Well,
every song, there's 3 songs and they're all getting a video.
oh, cool.
And I actually I've been talking with there's 2 different directors for the next 2 videos, you
Mhm.
know. Um, and I've been talking to them all day and planning things because we're going to shoot pretty soon for the next 2. And it'll be different directors because I'm in a different place right now. So I just need to work with different people and I want to have different perspectives, you know. But I am going to keep to a cult horror movie theme for all 3. They're going to be very loosely based on movies that have inspired me.
That's awesome. I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever heard about something like that before, like something done like that, where it's like, that's a neat concept. So it's like a trilogy. It's only 3,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so each one has a very distinctive influence based on a movie that you're referencing that you love.
It's like a really nice way to say I'm ripping off other people because I don't have original ideas when it comes to music videos.
No, you call it you're paying homage. That's what you say.
No, I know. I'm just fucking around.
I know.
No, it is because there are very distinctly different things about the video. Like, and you're gonna see this if you go watch Repulsion. My video looks nothing like Repulsion, but it's like my interpretation. Just like I guess if I listened to, you know, a Bob Dylan song and then I wrote a song that just because I listened to that Bob Dylan song 20 times one weekend and then I wrote a song and it doesn't actually sound like Bob Dylan, but somehow to me it's because I was in a Bob Dylan phase. You know what I mean?
Yep, it
So
goes
there's
through your
some sort of
filter.
like
Yep.
trickle down, yeah, filter. So yeah, but the homages and the influences, they're in there. And I just try to, you know, make it fashion, make it different.
Right on. So, does the EP have a release date yet?
Yes, May 21st
May 21st. So May 21st, and
on
um,
Pirates Press Records.
Pirate Press Records, and you can get the pre-sale on your website, correct?
I would go through Pirates Press.
Okay.
Yeah. My website's under construction.
Okay.
Yeah, and also they're going to be basically the store set up. You're not going to buy anything from my merch store except for like exclusive merch that I'll be making, like t-shirts and stickers and buttons and stuff. Because Pirates, they're actually the manufacturers of the vinyl also.
Right.
They've got their everything set up in such a nice way that why would I bother to pack and ship things when they've got the whole fucking thing, you know, already sorted out. So yeah, just order through Pirates Press and you might discover other bands that you love through them because they put out a lot of great artists.
Right on. And so when it does come out, maybe you can if you'd like to come back onto Sonic Dorms, and maybe we can run through the 3 songs and you can share a couple stories about them or whatever if you'd like, just to
I would
showcase.
love that.
But
Yeah, I've got stories behind all of the songs.
right on. Well, maybe we can do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I
Yeah.
would love it.
I really appreciate you giving me a chance and a shot. Don't take it for granted at all. And thanks.
You fucking
Seriously,
rule.
really cool. And
Cool.
I always, you're one of the first, so I'm gonna always hold you at that higher standard because you're one of the first to give me a shot. Thanks a lot, and I'm looking
It's been
forward.
great to be here with you.
Yeah, cool. And I'm looking forward to hearing the 3-track EP. I will be doing the pre-order myself. Hopefully, I get a blue vinyl. That'd be really
You
cool.
will. You will. And a special sticker.
Awesome, cool. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Susie. And
Thank you, Max.
and anybody who hasn't checked it out already, please like go on YouTube and check out the video for Special Place in Hell. Also, the track is on Bandcamp. I support artists. I think that if you believe in your artists, you should support them. Just because, you know what I mean?
I agree.
You bleed, you sweat for these songs. I mean, it's your job. It's what you do for a living. I mean, that's what you should.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my.
The best things that fans can do for artists right now, Bandcamp, sharing links, telling other people about an artist, just getting the word out. You know, it's really hard for us not being able to play shows right now and actually connect human to human, you know. So it might seem like a small deal to you, but an Instagram post or a story share, all of those things make a difference, you know. And it makes artists feel like they're being heard too, you know. It's difficult to not get the personal feedback, you know, from a live gig or something. So send your favorite artist a fucking message and tell them what it means to them, you know.
Yeah. Do you really one last thing? I keep saying one last thing, but
No worries.
speaking of connecting to audiences, do you have any shows that planned like in the near future or at some point down the line this year?
Yeah, actually, I'm fucking stoked. I do have a few shows. I'm playing a festival in Pennsylvania in September. It's called Camp Punksylvania. So it's a 4-day like outdoor punk rock camping festival
Cool.
that I'm like super stoked to be a part of. And it is being thrown by two awesome women who run a company called Riot Squad Media.
Okay.
And they're just absolute fucking badasses. So definitely check that out, because if you've been aching to like get out of town and spend a whole fucking weekend like camping but also listening to music, it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be so fucking rad. I've never seen anything like this before, and I'm just stoked to go and hang out myself. So there's that. That's in September, and then I'm doing a 4-day mini tour in November with a band called Mystery Girl and another band called The Wheels, and we're hitting New York, Philly, DC, and Richmond, Virginia.
Right on. I keep telling everybody when I talk music that the indies are going to rule more than anyone else right now, more so than the arena acts, more so than the stadium acts, than the big budget bands, if you will. I think the underground is going to kind of take off in a more prominent manner
I
when it
hope
comes
so.
to playing shows. Well, just because everyone just is pent up right now. Everyone wants to go
Yeah.
to the show, any show. So the independents have that on their side. And to top it off, because of this whole situation, they're not going to start opening up arenas right now. It's really going to be about
No.
smaller spaces, about the outside
Yeah.
spaces. So I think independent artists are going to thrive more than the so-called,
The
arena.
bigger acts. Yeah. Well, also the bigger acts don't necessarily need it.
Don't
And I
need it.
think people know too, like how hard this has been on so many different industries, and you know, contributing to your local venue, your local band, you know, like helping out their cause a little bit more is gonna feel really good for people.
Absolutely.
So
I think the pendulum is swinging the other way now for
yeah,
these.
man, I just want to give everybody a fucking hug.
It's about time, right? I mean, it's like, come on,
I
we need.
know.
I think all this has done is made people realize just how important human connection is, and I think people are listening to music now more than they did before too, just because they hadn't had that much time to themselves. Where they just you're stopped in your tracks. Oh yeah, that's right, music exists.
Yeah.
Well, I think are and again, not for everybody. I'm not going to generalize it, but there's a lot of people that I think are appreciating music nowadays more than ever before. Especially those that maybe didn't appreciate it as much before, took it for granted. Uh, I can't speak to the dyed in the wool types like myself, but there's people out there that just took it for granted. They didn't really, oh, it's there, it's always there. And now I feel like there's that, oh yeah, live shows, we have to see live shows again. Oh yeah, we love these artists, we love these songs, like we have to listen to these songs, we have to support these artists. I think it's becoming prominent.
Totally.
So right on. I can't wait for things to go back to a certain new normal, whatever you want to call it. I can't wait to see some
Me
live shows.
too. We'll
So
see what it looks like when we get there, but
yeah,
I'll definitely be coming down to Florida, and we'll hopefully be seeing you at a show.
right on. I love that. But again, Susie, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Max. You
Fun.
too, man.
We'll talk soon, okay?
This was fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Till next time.
Okay. Bye, dude.
Bye.